Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Thursday, September 15th, 2022. And here are some of today's trends in the news. The only place in the world where you get trends in the news. Matter of fact, if you tune into that other stuff they call news, this is from Study Finds. Stuck here. Obsessively watching the news can make you mentally and physically sick. Keeping up with the latest news can be very bad for your health. According to a new study, researchers at Texas Tech University found that Americans who obsessively follow the news are more likely to suffer from both physical and mental problems because you're watching the stupid shit from the fucking Cartoon News Network, ABC, NBC. How about NPR? How about go FUCK? Because that's the shit they're shoveling down your throat. Fucking bullshit. Let's go back 2 years ago. Everything fucking locked down. 3 months locking down everything in New York and most of the world. Brought to you by these little cocksuckers. Oh, I can't say the word. Who sold us the COVID war. Stand 6 feet apart. Put those tables 6 feet apart. You can't sit at the bar. Lock down your businesses. No wonder why your fucking people going mentally ill. Oh, and then I got an email from somebody. Stop your emotional outrage. I wrote back, and what are you doing to change this? Yeah. Oh, you don't mind the fucking wars that these little bastards and bitches sell on TV that kill millions of people. How dare you get emotional about that? And how they steal my fucking money under the name of taxes to give it to these shithead, scumbag, prick bastard, and I couldn't say the other word, politicians and bureaucrats. Yeah, public sector. Yeah, fuck off. Don't get angry. Oh, and you steal my money to give it to the too big to fails. Well, they're better than you. Jamie Dimon, Goldman Sachs. Oh, and I launched Occupy Peace and Freedom. And maybe you didn't come to the rally that I had here or watch the one that we put up of the whole rally in the round table with Judge Andrew Napolitano, Scott Ritter, Gary Null, Phil Giraldi, and myself. Do you know the energy, the time, and the money that it went to put into that? These are the little scumbag people that don't do shit to turn things around. And if we don't turn them around, we're going into the ground. And I'm going to tell you some of the ground crap that they're shoving down our throats that's going to destroy more of our lives. And we start with the equity markets. U.S. stocks dropped in choppy trading on Thursday as investors mulled over several economic reports that showed a muddy picture of the U.S. economy.
Absolute bullshit.
That's the bullshit they throw out at CNBC. Investors, fucking gamblers. Who the fuck are you talking to? The private equity groups? The hedge funds that own everything? The Nasdaq Composite shed 1.43%. The S&P fell 1.39%. The Dow Industrial dropped 173 points. Ready? Retail sales beat expectations. Oh, they did, huh? Yeah, now I looked at it. If you exclude autos, sales decreased 0.03%. And they revised the July number down. They said it was unchanged. It declined 0.4%. And now they're going to raise interest rates. Oh, it'll be great. It'll be great. It'll come back. It'll come back. Yep. Manufacturing data also slowed. Oil fell more than 2%. Why? Weaker than expectation on demand. And China's lockdowns, that's really drained it. And of course, what they're doing is they're taking our supplies out, our resources, and what they're doing is they keep releasing the strategic the reserves. So now you had U.S. inventories rose by more than expected 2.4 million barrels. So oil's coming under pressure, but we still say it's going to go up, particularly when the winter hits, as tensions continue to increase in Ukraine and in the Middle East. Gold hit a 2-year low today. Again, they say that the biggest factor is that the Fed raising interest rates, which we know, and also the dollar's getting stronger. And gold is non-yielding. So the interest rate hikes increase the opportunity cost of holding gold. But to me, I'm still bullish on gold. I think it's still the most safe haven asset. And why it's going down, I just don't see it, why it is. Silver went down. And you're also looking at the at copper prices going down. But when you look at them, they're way above their 5-year high. So yes, inflation's going to go down, but it's still going to be much higher than before the lockdowns. The 2020 COVID war, brought to you by China on their Lunar New Year, the year of the rat, 2020. Eurozone factories post biggest output fall since April 2020. Now, again, this is now before interest rates are going up, and now before the winter when energy prices are going to go higher. So to me, why gold prices are going down and silver makes absolutely no sense at all. And particularly silver, when they're talking about, the climate, readjusting and more solar panels, which silver is used in, it doesn't add up. UK economy stalls as cost pressures rise. Output was flat, according to the data released, compared with economic growth of 0.3% in the 3 months to April, blah, 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 blah. Inflation hit a 40-year high back in July at 10.1%. So what killed the UK economy? Little shithead scumbag fuckface clowns like Boris Johnson, who locked down the joint. Boris Johnson. Could you get a dopier fucking scumbag than him? Yep. And now you got Truss, from one shithead to another. Anyway, they're blaming all of this on the pandemic. It's the politicians, not the pandemic, and they're not blaming it on the lockdowns. None of them, none of the media. And what do we have here? Costs are likely to cause of consumer confidence in August dropped to its lowest level since records began 50 years ago. And now this Truss is going to be pumping up the economy with more fake money. Britain's inflation rate slows slightly. Isn't that a nice number? Slows slightly. It's 9.9%. It came down from 10.1%. Slows slightly. How about Britain's inflation rate still skyrockets? How about that? And again, when you look at their interest rate, they got a nothing interest rate, 2.25%. And it's still killing the economy when you have inflation running at 9.9%. So if you borrowed the money from the international mafia, a monetary fund, you'd have to have a 10.9% inflation rate, interest rate, 1% over inflation. It's all bullshit. Mortgage rates, they top 6% now in the United States. This is the first time since the panic of 2008. So now if you bought a house and you paid 20% down and the thing cost $390,000, you're paying $583 more a month now. Is There's going to be a market crash in real estate. In some sectors, yes. In some places, yes. Where, how, why, when? It's all in your Trends Journal. Trendsjournal.com, the only magazine in the world that gives you history before it happens. Everything that you're hearing now, we've been forecasting. Everything that we just talked about, we've been forecasting. And it's coming about. Except, again, did I think gold prices would be this low? Absolutely not. Did JP Morgan, who's been convicted of 5 felonies, rig the precious metals market and got a slap on the wrist of $900 million? Absolutely. So what's going on behind the scenes, I don't know. You ready? This is from the Toilet Paper Record. In New York City, pandemic job losses linger. New York City is still missing 176,000 jobs, representing the slowest recovery of any major metropolitan area. No shit. And what did we say about the office occupancy rates and how that's going to hit? Well, there are 1,250 fewer office cleaners in the city now than there were before the pandemic, according to Local 32BJ of the Service Employees International Union. You see, this is fucking propaganda, shit, scum crap coming from the Toilet Paper Record. It's not 1,250 fewer office cleaners in the city now before the pandemic. Before scumbag, shithead, fuckface, Bill de Blasio locked down the fucking city, shitheads. Not the pandemic, fuckfaces, and scumbag, arrogant little dick, feel them up, Andy Cuomo locked down New York. And they're all selling this shit that is a result of the pandemic, and this is how they rewrite history. Because scumbag, shithead teachers are going to teach this to future generations as they're teaching it now. Oh, yeah, the whole world changed in 2020 when the pandemic hit. That killed mostly elderly people, particularly those over 65, as they're doing now, with pre-existing comorbidities, obesity, type 2 diabetics, respiratory ailments. According to the agency, visitors in the city are coming back, but they're spending less money overall. You know why? Because there's no business travel, or I shouldn't say none, really declined, and people are losing dough. So there you go. That's just some of it. More in the Trends Journal, because this is going to be big. Times, NBC staff defy office return. Again, we're writing about this continually, said this is going to happen. It's a whole new world. You better watch out where you're investing. We're giving you all the information you need to think for yourself. We have great articles in there by Gregory Manarino, and we're trying to give you a path of the future that no one else is providing. Again, this is old news to Trends Journal subscribers. U.S. household income stalled last year, Census Bureau said. Oh, son of a gun. You ready? The lack of any real growth for 2021 follows a decrease in incomes recorded in 2020, the first year of the pandemic. No, fuckface, the first year of the fucking lockdowns by scumbag politicians and little shithead bureaucrats called health officials. Little son of a bitches and daughters of bastards that suck off the public tit that can't get a job in the real world with their arrogant fucking crap of locking down everything. And they keep using this pandemic. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Americans as a whole have experienced 2 years in a row of flat or declining household income, new government data showed, reflecting the pandemic's lingering economic pain. Not the pandemic's lingering economic pain, the politicians' pain that they inflicted on the people because these little fucks never took any pay cuts. They didn't close down their accounts. They stole the money from us and destroyed our lives. Here, you want to hear more bullshit from the fucking government crap? This is what they say. For a four-person household, the threshold for meeting the definition of poverty was about $27,740. $27,000 for a household of four? No. Poverty starts way above that. The USSA, the United Soviet States of America. Yeah, more in poverty. Energy bills are climbing sharply. The index for electricity in August in the United States only went up 15.8%. Again, I just gave you data. You're looking at incomes flat, inflation rising, retail sales slumping. Where do you think this is going to go? And it's worse than this, because when you look at John Williams' shadow stats, his inflation numbers are double what they're showing by the prostitute media. And on to some geopolitical news. U.S. warns China against doing any business with Russia. This is the White House spokesman, John Kirby, said today that the U.S. wants China to side with Washington and its allies opposing Russia and its military operation in Ukraine. Quote, our message to China has been consistent. This is not a time for any kind of business as usual with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He said on the Cartoon News Network, the little media prostitutes, the media whores that get paid to put out by the corporate pimps and the government whoremasters. Yep. He said China isolated, Russia wants Russia to be isolated from the rest of the international community, which has largely condemned what Putin has done in Ukraine, which is total.
That is bullshit.
That's right. It's only the West that's doing this. And nobody condemned the United States for its murderous wars in Afghanistan. Where were you, Cartoon News Network? George W. Bush, the little fucking daddy's boy with a dick probably smaller than a fucking mothball. How about him? How about condemning him for the Afghan war that lasted 20 years? How come you scumbags weren't covering that day by day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade? Because you're prostitutes, you're media whores, you're little fucking lemons, you're little Anderson Coopers, and Tapper on that. Where the hell are you, little nothings? While you keep putting out this propaganda as America keeps bloodying the killing fields. As Kirby spoke, Chinese President Xi met with Putin at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Uzbekistan and pledged to work with Russia to assume the role of great powers. And none of the SCO's 8 member states, encompassing nearly half the planet's population and more than half of its territory, have condemned or sanctioned Russia. But those are only facts, because now you got this woman, Ursula von der Leyen, who's the head over there of the European Union, State of the Union speech she gave. She said in her speech, praising Ukraine's resistance against Russian invasion, describing the country as nations of heroes, and we remain unshakable, and that Putin will fail, and Europe will prevail, and that Russia is on the trail of death and destruction. And she said, it is the Kremlin that has put Russia's economy on the path of oblivion. How about that for...
Bullshit.
That's right, because if you want to talk about the path of oblivion, let's look at the gas and oil prices that are wiping out Europe, because of the sanctions that the Europeans and the United States put on Russia. But we won't talk about that. So her forecast is wrong. It's the other way around. And there she goes on to say, I want to make it very clear the sanctions are here to stay. This is a time to resolve and not appeasement. I want to make it very clear I am the German over there. We did great killings in World War I and World War II, and I am making it perfectly clear. Who the fuck are you to make anything clear? And that's why you adore the Queen and salute to the King and bow down to the Prince. And that's why they keep us all subservient by putting out this kind of shit and these people who think they're in charge of our lives and the masses that allow them to be. I want to make it perfectly clear, you serfs. Yep. She goes on to say, I want the people of the Western Balkans, of Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia to know you are part of our family. You are the future of our union. And our union is not complete without you. Look at this dictatorship. What family? And stop with this fucking bullshit I want to make. How about they call it democracies? When I want. Yeah. I want bullshit. That's all it is. Right in front of your eyes. What else we got here? IAE report on a Ukrainian nuclear plant does not specify who shelled it. The report of the IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi on the, I don't know how to pronounce it, Ukraine nuclear power plant does not mention from which side of the plant was shelled. Quote, strange as it may seem, the report lacks any mention of the side from which the station was shelled. This is, in our opinion, is the weakest and most problematic part of the report presented by the Director General. Silence on this matter only encourages the Ukrainian side to continue rocket and military strikes. This is from the Russia's permanent representative to the international organization in Vienna. He said this today. The Russians aren't bombing the place that they're in, but the media covers it up and they keep selling the lies. Here, this is from the toilet paper record. Stunned Moscow admits to losing most of Kharkiv, whatever you pronounce it. Retreat dense image of mighty Putin. Hey, how come you didn't say retreat dense image of little Georgie Bush? How about you never said the Afghan troop surge brought to you by Barack Obama? The retreat didn't dent the image of Barack Obama because you're prostitutes, you're media whores. Police crack down on UK anti-monarchy protests. Yep, isn't that great? Locking up people for protesting against the monarchy. Millions of migrants take flight from repression and economic woes. Yep. Again, we warned about this New World Disorder. It's here again, more and more. This is from, I wanted to mention this. This is from the Wall Street Journal this past Monday. COVID's still a leading killer, especially among seniors. That's right. They show a guy here with a beer can and very overweight, had fully boosted, and he died. Promptly got his first 2 COVID shots and a booster. They go on to say that it is still killing hundreds each day. Most are older people, and many have underlying health conditions and compromised immune systems. No shit. They go on to say, roughly 85% of the people who died from COVID-19 through mid-August were 65 or older, a Wall Street Journal analysis of the death certificates indicate the rate is similar to the 2020 peaks. Then they go on to say the health system, Advent Health, this is in Florida, counted 24 deaths related to COVID-19 in its Orlando, Florida hospital in August. Age was the biggest factor. All but one of the COVID-19 patients who died had serious health problems, such as diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, heart failure, and obesity. All right? So don't forget to get the little kids vaccinated because it's killing older people. Nearly half of San Francisco personally affected by crime. Chicago crime worries McDonald's executive. No shit. We warned about this when they launched the COVID war. When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. And they're losing it big time. The damage that has been caused by the COVID war is incalculable. And the worst is yet to come. You're seeing it on the economic front, the socioeconomic front, and on the geopolitical front. And remember, when all else fails, they take you to war. So do what you can to occupy peace. Not like this little clown that wrote to me and said, what are you doing? What are you kidding? You know, the work and effort and energy that went into putting on these rallies and the money. And thanks for the donations, because that makes it possible. I just read this billionaire, I forgot the name of the place, Patio, and he's $3 billion they're giving for climate change, you know, to help climate. How about a billionaire giving $1 billion for peace? Not a peep for peace, not a penny for peace. So do what you can to support us, because we're supporting you. And if you want to read history before it happens, subscribe to the Trends Journal. We're giving you everything we can at a price that's nothing, $2 a week. Because go to trendsjournal.com, trendsjournal.com. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to tune in yesterday's Salenti and the Judge. You're not going to want to miss that one. Fascism, monarchy, yeah, it's America and what they call democracies. See you soon. From COVID war to Ukraine war to world war. Are you prepared for what's next? These are unprecedented times. What's next? What's going to happen? Read the Trends Journal. We have an unsurpassed track record of forecasting history before it happens. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happens. From the world leader in trend forecasting.